Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. So today guys, we're not in the garden. We are at a class today, and this is with the Master Gardeners of Liberty County, and they are doing backyard citrus trees. So we're gonna go in there and learn what we can, and I'll talk to you after class.
Okay, so I do have the handout as well, and this is just what you guys are going to look up there. If you'll take one, pass it around. Some people like to look at it on paper. Some people can see it from here. So whatever guys makes you comfortable, just let me know. And I assume you guys can hear me. Like I said, I'm loud enough. I hope you guys can hear me. All right. So let's talk. Let's just jump into it. I've done this program, a couple times here and there, but it basically is citrus, Southeast Texas. First and foremost, show of hands, who has some type of citrus currently? Oh, gosh, that's better than average. Okay, awesome. All right, who has lost citrus? So how about that? Everybody raise their hands. All right, so you see where we're going. When I started about 10 or 12 years ago, citrus was it. I mean, it was all about the citrus. I mean, that's what we eat, breathe, talked about, lived. I mean, it was just 101. Now, it's not quite as intense. So we've lost some of our enthusiasm, I guess, toward citrus, and rightfully so, because of, multiple things that have affected the citrus industry here in Southeast Texas. Weather, cost, regulations, not through us, but through state, TDA, things like that. It's not as easy just to go get a backyard citrus tree and say, plant it and say, okay, I'm going to have citrus. There's a little bit more to it now, but we'll talk about that as we go. So first and foremost, I always start with the history. I think that's important. You got to know where you came from on history, because citrus did not come from here. All right, just point blank. We did not start citrus. It did not just pop up and say, surprise, Southeast Texas, we're here. All right, it is from the I call it Middle East and the Orient. We're just going to go that direction. So that is where it's from. More on the China side of it, we have a lot of our varieties that, if you've noticed names throughout the trade, they are some that I cannot pronounce, and we'll show you some examples, and we'll show you some varieties that are good and things like that. But when we talk about citrus, citrus is this great big long list. We're going to kind of narrow it down and talk about some specific ones in detail. Satsumas, mandarins, oranges, grapefruit, limes, things like that. They all go under that citrus umbrella. So if you have something very specific, or maybe an exotic like pomelo or something like that.
I got pomelo.
You got a pomelo?
Mm-hmm.
See, there you go. All right, I'm in good company. Yes, ma'am. Calamondrin? Say it again. Calamondrin. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one of those in a while, but yeah, absolutely. Question?
Does kumquat and
Mhm.
citrus? Okay.
Yeah, I'll lump it in there too. So it's in there as well. We'll go through this pretty quick because this is kind of just, it's here. Citrus came through the islands, things like that. So if you were in the Orient, you brought it with you, things like that. Why did they have citrus on the boats when they were coming over? For what disease? Scurvy. Right? Yeah.
Right.
So that was they brought, I guess, prepackaged, I guess would be the word I would use. But they brought their food with them because they knew that if they didn't have enough food sources and the right food sources, scurvy was an issue. So they brought their own citrus with them. With that came the seeds, things like that. All right, Satsuma mandarins came into Louisiana. And South Louisiana, y'all, if y'all don't know it, is a very wonderful environment, along with East Southeast Texas as well. Very unique climate. Mosquitoes included. That's what we grow. I'm practicing my growing mosquitoes quite well this year. I know y'all got a good crop too. But anyway, they were introduced in the late 19th century from Japan, so they brought them over, and a lot of your citrus growing, a lot of your ideas are coming out of LSU. They still have a good crop of citrus growing areas. And we actually have one or two growers in this part of the world still, commercial-wise, and that's changed. 10 or 15 years ago, you had 8 or 10 really good, what I call big backyard gardeners that were on the small scale production format. Some of our growers, and you guys may know some names, Doremus, nursery up there in Warren. Anybody familiar with that one? You are? Okay. Citrus was his thing, and he was rocking and rolling. TDA came in a couple of years ago, 6-7 years ago, says, hey, you know, if you want to grow citrus, now we've got some rules and regulations you've got to follow. It's going to cost some money. And he said, I'm at that point in life, I'm not going to invest the money for new equipment, new greenhouses to follow your rules. So I'm out. And that pushed a lot of smaller, what I call mom and pop nursery growers out of the business, unfortunately. But it's done two things. It's really helped regulate our industry for the citrus. We have less growers, but the ones that we have, I think, are pretty darn good. You've got several to choose from in this immediate area. The biggest one that you're probably going to see where most of your citrus comes from that you guys touch and feel actually comes from Sachs and Becknell over in Orange. Out in the middle of Orange Field on a little farm to market road, probably 100 acres of nothing but plastic. I mean, it's just greenhouse after greenhouse after greenhouse, and they keep growing. And they are very, very, very strict on what comes in and what comes out. I'm just going to put it this way. I'm not allowed in their greenhouses. The TDA guy, they have to know, say, hey, I'm coming. And they have a little guy following them around in their greenhouses. So they are very strict on who goes in and what comes out. That is the booger, so to speak. That's what we're facing right now in the United States. Mainly the southern states. We don't grow citrus too far north. Florida has issues with it. Louisiana has issues with it. We have issues with it. We are trying to be self-contained and limit our exposure to it. So that's why we have issues and regulations, and we'll get into those, talk about those, but now. But anyway, that's the down and dirty real quick. All right, so we talk about culture, and that's growing it. Are you gonna try to grow something where it doesn't belong and it's not happy? Yeah, we do, every day, every day. I see stuff at the nurseries that I'm just like, okay, it looks pretty now. It ain't gonna grow next week. 125 degrees, when we get 100 degrees, here it comes, we're done, all right? Or vice versa, it may grow too good, all right? So, we always say that citrus is not native or completely adapted to our Gulf Coast temperate climate. And I said completely. Y'all notice how I said that? I said, and that's what happened to our industry, is we rock and rolled, you know, we're really good for about 20 years, and all of a sudden, the last 4 to 6 years, what's happened during the wintertime? Cold weather, snow, cold weather, you know, extremely cold weather, single digits. We don't traditionally get single digits down here. I grew up East Texas, and yeah, we got down into some really, you know, low 8s and 10s and 12s when I was growing up. You guys didn't have, well, you guys did too. This year, it pretty much took out quite a bit of stuff. All right, and that includes our citrus. All right, most of our citrus is tropical, subtropical in nature. So when you think tropical, subtropical, what plants are you thinking? What comes to mind when I say tropical?
Bananas. Avocado.
Dragon fruit.
Dragon fruit. So we can grow those.
Jackfruit.
Yep. Okay. We can grow things like that. Citrus is kind of right in the middle of the road. It likes our climate. It does not like our cold weather. So we kind of have to baby it and take care of it to get it to where it's happy and to a point where it can grow. I don't have near as many home calls on citrus as I used to because I don't have as many citrus trees. I will flat be honest with you. After the freezes here in the last 3 or 4 years, we have looked at numbers, and in my county, Jefferson County, we're estimating anywhere, and this is over a 3 to 4 year period, about a 75% loss, give or take, of citrus trees. So 100 trees, I got 25 left. You know, that to me is an impact, and that has impacted how we look at things, how we do things, how we grow things, how we sell things. So, and we'll get into that as we go on a little bit. you all know, and I hope you do, most of your citrus, I say most, not all of it nowadays, is grafted, correct?
Yes.
All right. Different root stocks, different climatic region, different requirements, things like that. Okay. I grew up taught on the old school method, I guess, trifoliate. You guys know what trifoliate is? All right, try meaning 3, yeah. All right, trifoliate is one that's well adapted to our area. All right, it is a rootstock. There's several sub-varieties of it, but trifoliata is what it's called. That's what I grew up with. Trifoliate is going to get you a smaller tree and a little bit more cold resistance. I didn't say a lot, but a little bit. But I'm after the height. Since I do a lot with backyard growers, anybody had to get a ladder to go pick their citrus?
We've seen trees.
Yes. I'm not promoting, homeowners getting on a 20-foot ladder or have to go get a scaffold to go pick their oranges. It's too much. If I can get a tree that will top out at 10 or 11 feet at maturity, that's what I want. That trifoliatus has some dwarfing properties, and that's what we like it for, okay? All right.
What does trifoliate produce after the citrus has froze off of it? Does it produce anything? I mean, I don't know what a trifoliate is.
I'm gonna show you.
Okay,
As
all
we go
right,
on.
good, okay.
I'm gonna show you the rootstock. It's very different. You'll notice it by the way it's growing. I think I have a picture in here of the thorns actually, so you'll be able to identify it. Citrus are self-pollinating. So, do we need bees? Do we need wind? Do we need water? Yes. Do they have to have another mate, down, adjacent to them so that they'll pollinate? No, they're pretty self-pollinating, so you can get away with one. Obviously, if you have 2 or 3, it has a friend, it's happier. That's why we like to look at it. Now, lemons, limes, citrons, that one. They'll bloom with sufficient heat and moisture, okay? The citrus needs a little bit of cold weather. It doesn't need a lot, but it needs a little bit, okay? And that's why we kind of like where we're at, because we do get cool in the winter. I say cool. My cool is 30, 32. I'm good. 6, 7, 2. Nope, I'm done. It's too cold for me. All right. Now, this is what we have grown in the past, and we don't see as much of this as we did before. But these are some varieties I think that are very good. Somebody mentioned kumquats. Miowa is one that I like. There's a sweet and a sour one. I'm not about picking up something that's going to bite me back sour wise. It's just not me. Okay. Mandarins are probably what you will see most in the trade and for sale. How many of y'all have gone to the grocery store and bought the little cuties? All right. We all have. Kids love them because the 4-year-old can sit there and peel one-handed. I mean, they're so good. And it also goes back to marketing. The cutie brand, corporation, whatever, they have really good guys that know how to market and know how to advertise it, and that's why that brand sells. Okay, but mandarins are going to be your thin-skinned fruit. All right, and these are some ones that we've grown. And remember a while ago I said look at some of the names. Those definitely have some influence from the Orient. Yes, ma'am.
Are those angry? Those are mandarins?
Sorry. Spelling is not my thing, so. All right, mandarin. Sorry about that. So yeah, please.
Makes you remember it.
I will correct that. Yes. All right.
That was intentional.
I had I guess I had a master gardener when I first started. He was about this tall. When I met him, he was about 85. He's about this tall. Feisty, ornery. Mr. Bonnie. Anybody remember Mr. Bonnie? Am I about correct? Little Spitfire, about 5 something. Just hell on wheels, excuse my language. But he was very adamant, and that was his passion. Now, by trade, he was a DuPont engineer by trade, but in his other life, which probably suited him better, he was the go-to information for citrus. he lived it, he breathed it. I mean, it was his thing. That one right there, he would sell you a tissue mandarin coming and going. I mean, it didn't matter what day it was. He was going to tell you how it was. It was the best thing since sliced bread. That was his favorite. It's just one of those things that he talked it up enough that, you know, I finally got kind of on the bandwagon with it as well. But Louisiana Early, Awori, Early St. Anne, those two or three came out of Louisiana. And Bonnie actually has some named for him. He actually has some production, if they, you know, ever do the production, that I know are his kind of creation, his selection. I think like it's a B1 is something like that. So he does have some citrus, you know, that is ties to Bonnie Childers. So I always thought that was interesting to say. But anyway, oranges. A lot of people like that Cara and the Washington Navel. That's your true orange. It's going to have a thicker rind. I'm not a big orange fan. The peel and the rind is thick. So that to me is like, ugh, you know, that's just me. But people like them. Grapefruit, Rio Red, Ruby Red. Probably you guys have bought that in the store. Yes, ma'am.
Is a pomelo considered a grapefruit?
Say,
Pomelo.
pomelo?
Yeah.
No, it's its own little standalone thing.
Okay.
It's kind of like a little offshoot over here. It's still under the citrus umbrella, but it's kind of, it doesn't fit well with the grapefruit. It's hard to describe. It's just its own little
I know
thing.
they have a thicker skin. For
They do.
sure.
It's a much thicker skin. It's real puffy.
Mhm.
Yes. Lemons. Oh gosh. Everybody had a lemon tree, I know. Probably most people around here either have had a Myers lemon, which is our traditional sized lemon, or you have the Ponderosa that's yay big. It looks like a, well, it looks about the size of a big softball, but it's not smooth. When we talk about traditional lemons, what I've always seen are a little bit on the smaller side. Ponderosa is about like that, and it's a very rough textured surface. And again, it does not like the cold. We actually see a lot of those Ponderosas and things like that in Southern California. Their environment's a lot more hospitable to growing things like that. Question?
Yeah, are all of these usually grafted? Okay.
Yeah. The ones that are not grafted, we're going to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
And then on the bottom, limes. I will tell you guys to grow the Mexican limes. They're going to do you a better job here. We call them key limes, but they're actually the Mexican limes. Those are what you're going to want. They're going to be more friendly here. You can get some of the other limes, and they're not going to be as happy environmental wise. So, all right. So, what do you got to have when you grow citrus? Number one, sunshine. All right. Please do not plant your citrus tree under your live oak tree and expect it to do great things. It will do great things as it will fold up and it will go to the house and says, I am done. I have seen more and more planted or placed in shady locations. There's like, something's got to give. If you want the tree, you can either have your oak tree or you can have a citrus tree, but you cannot have both. It's close as some of them have been. All right, well drained. Yes, well drained. That's probably the biggest thing that most homeowners do not think about. Oh, my yard's fine. And I go out there and do a site visit, and I just walk through and I was like, okay, squish, squish, squish. This is not well drained. And so we have always encouraged homeowners to build up on a berm. When I say berm, just something that's 12 inches by maybe, I don't know, 3 feet across, 3 feet square. If you guys have ever seen a tiller behind a raised bed where they do the raised beds on the tractor, they make those nice fluffy beds. That's ideal, something that the roots can grow in. They're going to grow into that clay soil, but they need something to get established, things like that. Protection from winds. A lot of my older clientele, my older trees and my older clientele, they were very specific where they placed it. They placed it on a south side of a house where basically you didn't get the wind. Some of us don't have that luxury now because of just site requirements, things like that. But you know, if you have a way to protect it from the north winds that we get, you guys have a few more trees over here, a few more pine trees, so that helps tremendously. things like that. Adequate soil. What's your guys' pH over here? Do you know? Average. 6.5, 6.7.
Somewhere.
Ball.
What side of the river you're on.
Okay, good point. All right, so say this side. Say the east side. 6.7. Okay. Changes on the other side. What does it go to? About a little bit higher. So it's probably 6.8, 6.9. Okay, so there's some difference. All right. I always tell people try to be kind of cut the middle. If you can get about 6.5 to 6.7, I'm happy with that. All right. So we'll talk about some soil amendment, things like that if we need to. But you're looking for well-drained soil. And citrus will actually tolerate, and they do quite well in our clay soil, but you got to amend it just a little bit, okay? Just don't plant in gumbo clay. Otherwise, your roots are going to be saturated, and you're going to run into short-lived trees, which we, number one, can't afford. And they won't give you the production that you're looking for. 5.5 to 7 for trifoliate flying dragon. Up to about an 8 for sour orange. If you are in the 8s, we got to do some talking. Things like that. 8's pretty darn high. I would stay 5.5 to about no more than about 6.8, 6.9. 7's pushing it. If you go up to an 8, sorry, kind of, yeah, we got to do some amendments, drastic amendments. All right. In a perfect world, this is what I would love to see. And this is actually, I had a homeowner that had this. What do you guys notice? What's the first thing that draws your eye?
The berm.
All right, so they are bermed. They are planted on a little berm. It's not drastic, but it is noticeable. Keep talking. Keep going.
No grass around
There you go.
them.
All right. No grass, no weed competition around the base. All right. Also, how high is that mulch piled up against the base of that tree? Not real high.
It's got like a divot by the tree.
Okay. So you guys have seen the volcano mulches that we fuss about around. Say you go to my Walmart in Beaumont, they're horrible about it. But what about the one in Liberty? They have trees around the outside parking lot. Does it look like a little volcano at the base? I think that's a Walmart thing. All right. No mulch volcanoes around them. Okay. All right. What about spacing? What do y'all notice?
About 15, 20 feet.
Okay. You've got enough airflow. All right. That's important. I have so many people that have backyards now that their backyard is literally this big, and they go to the store and buy 8 fruit trees, and I'm thinking 8 trees are not going to be happy in here. Okay. Literally every other one, and then maybe every third one is what you need. But planting, location, that's important. Okay. All right. Planting container grown trees. Just about everything, probably 99.9% of what we have is going to be container grown. So you're going to treat it just like you would any other container grown plant. All right. You're going to dig the hole probably twice the diameter is what you need. So you're not going to make a hole and shove it and try to wedge it in there. You want a little bit bigger hole. All right. What is that reason for? Why do we do that?
Allows for root growth.
All right. Roots want to go this way. We want the roots to go this way. We don't want them to go round and round. So if you have a tree that's been in a container, probably not this one. This one's not old enough yet. And you see the roots on the outside of the container that you pull out, and they go round and around. What is that called? It's a root mound. All right. How do you fix that? Just, you can take them, and you can actually be rough with them and take them and physically force them out. So you want the roots to basically go this way and not in a circle. All right. So you'll see that, not just citrus trees, but anything that's been at the nursery too long, any of your shrubs or something like that, it's important to do that. All right. What I've always told people when you plant, don't plant them where they go in a hole like this. I'd rather see them like this. Does that make sense? So plant them a little bit proud, and as time goes on, they're going to start settling and they'll be about right. But if you plant like this starting out, they're only going to get worse. It's going to go sink further down. Okay. All right. There's rules of thought on this right here, and I understand why they say that in a commercial production. But if you're going to use like a hand auger and you've got 47 holes, go find you some help to dig some hand dug holes, or at least rough up the sides. If you take a hand auger and go down, come out, and what are the sides of that hole? Are they about like glass?
Yeah.
They're smooth, okay? So they have no ability for those roots to penetrate that smooth side. So if you do use an auger, and you have to, it's fine, but take a shovel or something and scratch or scar the side of the holes. Me personally, I'm gonna get a 12-year-old or something like that to go dig a hole. I used to could do that, don't do it anymore. But basically it causes the roots where they don't want to penetrate that sidewall. So avoid the auger if possible. If you have to, then just kind of go from there. Oh gosh, this is the biggest thing that we run into, no matter citrus, anything else. When they plant, they're going to say, oh, I've got gumbo clay. What about bringing in some store-bought dirt or soil? Dirt's a 4-letter word, by the way. But soil. And they're going to bring in this nice $18, $20 bag soil and mix in there. Why would you not want to do that?
Because it doesn't
It's all
match
miracle
yours.
mulch now.
Well, it doesn't match your own, where it's gonna be growing.
Okay, that's kind of, we're going the right direction. It's gonna be a good soil. You're paying $20 a bag for it. I hope it's good soil. It's gonna be a lot looser. It's not gonna have as much density as a traditional soil. So basically, that root system's gonna grow in that nice, loose, fluffy soil. It's like a good soft pillow. It's gonna grow. It's gonna, kind of work its roots through there, and it hits maybe the sidewalls of your existing soil, and it's gonna say, this is pretty hard. I'm not gonna exert any extra energy, and so you'll have a very small contained root system, which we don't want. We want a root system out here, not here. So avoid bringing in store-bought dirt to backfill the hole. Now you can use existing soil, and you can mix in amendments with it. I'm okay with that. Just don't basically plant it in a hole in the ground and fill it full of, Nature's Way or soil or whatever. Use your existing soil and add amendments such as compost, or maybe some peat moss if you need to, or even a little bit of pine bark grit or something like that to get that soil where you need to be. But basically a tree that you pull out of the pot and put it in a bigger hole, it's not going to do very well for you, okay? We talked about this a while ago, correcting these circling roots. And I mean, you can get physical with them. You can actually clip them or just physically pull them apart and just spread them out. As long as they know. It's weird to me to think that roots have a retained memory, but they do. And so you take them out of the pot, they're going to keep growing in that circle pattern just without the pot. So we're going to disrupt that thought pattern. We're going to basically say, okay, change of pace. We're going this way. We're going to go out. We're going to anchor our tree. And that's what we want. Last one, when planting, this is hard to make homeowners do. We spent $60 for this little guy right here, and you want me to cut off a third of it? I can't do it. I won't do it. That's $20 down the drain. I'm not going to do it. No. All right. Basically, it's thinking of it like as a teenager grows up, they're 6'5", 6'6". They're lanky. They're about big as a pencil. All right, they're a little top heavy, right? They may be lanky. They're just awkward. All right, you want to knock that height down a little bit, and you don't have to take a third, but at least some. If I was going to plant this guy as is, I probably would take him down to about right there. I would take probably about a third. I would take that off when I'm planting in the springtime. Okay, and now all that does is that gives the root system a chance to catch up and match what's on top. Does that make sense? So basically you want your feet to kind of match your height and not be a size 6 shoe and a 6'5" kid, because he's going to be top heavy. He's going to kind of flop around. So my kids are short, so by the way, that's not them. I'm the tall person, and they got the short from their mom, so not me. They're not gonna break 5'5", 5'6", so I'm okay with that. All right. Now, rainfall, watering. How often, how much? All right. If we're getting rain, like you guys getting rain pretty much every afternoon sometimes? In the morning maybe?
This week.
This week, yeah. Typically it's been raining about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Little shower here, little shower there. That's fine. If you're getting, ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch daily, you're fine. If you plant it and then the faucet turns off, drag the hose out and give it some water, supplemental water, okay? Avoid overhead. We don't want to spray the leaves. We want to do the base, okay? Water around the base. Reason why,
Insects.
say it again.
Insects.
Well, insects, but fungal. If you're watering the base, or if you're watering the top leaves, let's say in the morning, and it's a cloudy day, those leaves stay wet for 6 to 8 hours. You're just saying, hey, fungal, the door's open, come on. And we don't want that. All right, and again, this one, I have to argue with homeowners all the time. Take the fruit, first 2 to 3 years minimum, and just, you're not after fruit, you're after tree, first 5 years. That's what I tell people. You bought a $60 tree, I want fruit next year. You're gonna get a fruit, it's gonna be about that big, it's gonna taste horrible, you know, that's not $60 worth, okay? Buy your patience, buy your time, first 2 to 3 years, pick the fruit off when it starts making, because all that energy is going into fruit production and not tree production. First 5 years, I want tree, okay? I'm after tree production. That's what I'm after. So this one doesn't have any. Okay, good. That I see. I would say basically you're not going to expect fruit for at least the first 4 years, okay? So after that, then you can start saying, okay, now I can take some fruit, I can have fruit. All right?
So do you just remove the spent blooms then, or you just
No,
wait
you can
for
let it. You can
to-
actually let it bloom, and it'll make little fruit. It'll start
Well,
off
that's what I
size
was
of
saying,
a
the spent
BB.
blooms, but yeah.
Leave the blooms. They're fine. They serve their purpose, but when it starts making the fruit and it's big as a quarter, something like that, just rain will knock it off. A lot of times, wind, things like that. But if you get one that's stray or whatever, just snip it off. That's fine. Because your fruit production basically is pulling all the energy away from height and growth and root development, and we want that first 3 to 4 years. So, and there's planting. That's an ag agent's. I forget where she's at now, but planting. So there's that. All right. Now you've got your tree in the ground. You planted in probably February, March this year or last year. When you fertilize, and that's probably the biggest thing that most people don't do enough of is fertilize.
4 times a year?
I've got 3, but 4 is good
Okay,
too.
all right.
I have a little mnemonic, or I guess that's what we call it, a little saying when you plant citrus trees and fertilization. It's Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and Father's Day are target dates. Okay, so that's your days that you put on the calendar that says fertilization, citrus tree fertilization. All right, and that works with timing. Okay, but if you're planting a new tree, you're not going to fertilize it when you plant it. So that first year when you buy a new tree, if you bought this at a sale or something like that this year, you probably would not fertilize that guy the first year. So the first year, just get him in the ground, get him established, nice and slow, nice and steady growth is what you're after. You're not after that explosive, upright growth just yet. I want that root system to get started, get established before I do anything like that. Also, never after July 1st. So right now, you should not be fertilizing your citrus trees. Why is that? What do y'all think will happen if I fertilize late in the year? Well, heat, number one, yes, if we're fertilizing in July and August for the heat, think the top, think cold weather. What if we have, I'm not saying we are, what if we have an early season frost, say in September, October, and you just fertilized? You're going to lose all that vegetative growth on top due to that cold snap. It's going to bite it because it's very young, it's very tender growth. So you don't want a lot of growth going into the fall. You want growth from basically February, March, April, May, June, July a little bit, and then from say August on, we're going to start going downhill in our growth. We don't want growth all the way into October, November because of cold weather, okay? All right. So that's why we don't fertilize midsummer is because of heat, and then we don't want a lot of tender growth that can get zapped in the fall if we have a cold spell. All right, now, again, this is dealer's choice here, but what we have seen and what we've used is a good granular fertilizer. All right, now, brand, I'm not loyal, sorry. If you have a brand that you love and it's the best thing since sliced bread, I'm not going to change your mind, okay? Read the label, make sure it's well balanced on fertilizer, okay? What I mean by, y'all know what fertilizer label is, correct? Do I need to go there? 3 numbers?
NPK.
What are the 3 numbers?
NPK.
Okay. All right, 3 numbers, N, P, and K. All right, you want them well balanced. You do not want something that's got a 2900 or a 2100. Okay, why is that?
It's gonna be all night.
It's too much. All right, too much.
The swallowtail.
It is a swallowtail.
Yeah.
He looks like we call it, it's called an orange dog is what we call it, but it looks like a big pile of bird duty, basically. All right, he is a defoliator. All right, what do you gotta have for photosynthesis? Leaves. All right, if you don't have any leaves and he's stripped your citrus tree, we're gonna have a hard time making fruit. All right, so live and let live, just within reason. Okay, that's how I approach him. If he's there, he's there. If he's eating a couple leaves, I'm fine. But if he's eating the whole tree, we got to go somewhere else. Okay, but he is a defoliator. He is nothing more than that. Okay. All right. Oh, we talked about stink bugs a while ago. Y'all have gotten fruit and it's blemished on the skin. Again, stink bugs. They have a proboscis. They have a piercing, sucking mouthpiece, and basically all he's doing is sticking his little mouthpiece in your fruit, going to the next piece of fruit, sticking it in there, and dragging the juice with him, dragging all the saliva with him, and all the diseases that he's got with him. All right. So that's one I want to get rid of. All right. That's the one you want to definitely control. I got multiple thoughts on how to control stink bugs. I've got people that will pick them off one by one. I don't have that much time, sorry. I did have a master gardener. She had a dust buster, and she would go out there and
I use the shop vac. I use the shop vac with soapy water inside.
that works too.
Oh yeah,
All
that's
right.
what I did. I pick and put on the, because they love the long beans, Asian long beans.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're horrible. They're prolific. So yes, you do need to control them to some point. They are an issue when you're talking about fruit production because basically they cause cosmetic damage, and
Oh, yes.
basically they can ruin the fruit if you're not careful. I mean, if I've got stink bugs on tomatoes, we're just talking about tomatoes now. That's going to be end up salsa because I cut out around the little damaged portion. But I don't want it to be so much that it's inconvenience.
Isn't a tomato considered citrus fruit?
No, we're just talking about tomatoes.
No, I'm just saying, isn't tomato
It's
considered
a
a
fruit,
citrus
but it's not a
No,
citrus.
no.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
I jumped back and forth, so forgive me. Yeah, tomatoes not a citrus. Sorry. All right, stink bugs. That's probably the biggest one that I always argue with sometimes. There's my leaf miner. This is what he does. He looks like a little kindergartner got out there and drew on the leaves with a magic marker. If you see that, you've got leaf miners. All right. When should you spray? Before you see that. Okay. If you see that, he is already in your leaf and he is going to town. I know I had.
Could you just pull off that leaf
You
Or-
can.
and it's gone, or is it in the branches of the tree? It's just in the
No,
leaf?
he's in the leaf, but he's basically embedded himself in the interior of the leaf. And if you start running into a severe infestation of leaf miners, and you're going to pick every leaf off, if I go pick off, got thorns. I pick off 100 of those, I've reduced my photosynthesis, my transpiration, so I'm not really doing any good. So best off, let's control the leaf miner, just get rid of him. So when you have new flushes of growth, and I don't see any on this guy here to show you guys. I do have some chewing insects here. Well, I did.
Take them back with you.
Oh, I just want to share it with everybody. Y'all know
In
that.
your pocket.
All right.
For a rainy day.
That's chewing leaf damage right there. You guys can see that.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to avoid. That's what he looks like. He's got the little fan tail if you can catch him.
I've never
So
seen him.
a contact insecticide will kill him. He's very easy to kill, but you got to get a hold of him early.
So you gotta get a hold of him outside the leaf.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, all right.
So control is when he is in a juvenile state, in a small state, because he's outside the leaf and he's very susceptible to anything that you spray contact herbicide. So that's why I say when you spray, You're gonna spray that plant till it drips. Top, bottom, side, left, down, turn it upside down, spray the underside of the leaves. You want it to drip, to coat. All right? So you're gonna do that, like I said, about once a week, every 10 days.
So
give
it
or
smothers
take.
them.
What's that?
It smothers them.
Yes, it chokes,
Okay,
it chokes it
alright,
out. So yeah,
okay.
good analogy. All right. All right, there's the Asian citrus psyllid. If we talk about one, this is one that's probably the bad dude. All right, this is the guy that is all the reason that we have all these new rules and laws and regulations, because he basically is carrying the disease, or he can carry the disease. He may not be. Let me back up. You can have the psyllid, and you can have a population of psyllids, and they can be negative for the disease. Okay, you can have the psyllid and he not be what they call hot, or you can have the psyllid and he be hot, or you can have the plant that's already infected, and the psyllid basically is hopscotching along, going from your plant to my plant, transferring the disease. So it's important that we control this guy. And this is the big one that we really got to control.
Where do they come from?
Where did they come from?
Probably Asia. Anything that
It
has
popped
a-
up in Florida. It really initiated itself in Florida. It showed up some of the citrus coming, from Florida. That's where it started, but it's just migrated along the coast. And so the Texas Department of Agriculture, TDA, is working very hard to limit its spread. So that is the reason that you cannot go out of state to buy citrus. You guys are close enough to Houston. If you guys gone maybe over to Houston or something like that, and they'll tell you citrus greening, citrus quarantine zone, things like that. If you go to Conroe on 105, there's a sign that says entering or leaving a citrus quarantine zone. So certain counties are in quarantine zones. So that basically says you cannot legally, I say legally, take and grow the citrus and move it from location to location. Right now, Jefferson County, Orange counties are wedged up between Houston and the state line. So we cannot legally go to Louisiana and bring citrus trees back. We can't basically take our trees to Texas or Louisiana. So it is an issue.
And you can't cross from Harris County into Liberty County.
I don't
know how they enforce
I don't.
that.
Well, I don't know how exactly all the quarantines. I don't know if it's on the map. But especially where there's a lot of urban populations, we tend to have a lot more movement of disease because, John's going to buy it over here. He's going to move it from, say, Conroe to Pasadena, type things, stuff like that. Question?
Is this the citrus, the quarantine maps? Is that off the TDA website?
I think it is.
Okay.
Let's see which one. All right, this actually came from Brazos Citrus Nursery in West Columbia. Is that Fort Bend? No.
Yes.
Is it Fort Bend? Somewhere down there. No, Brazoria County. Brazoria. I'll get it straight. I knew it's down there. It's got their name, their ID number. All right, so that's how they basically can track it if there is an issue. All right, and this also one of them. This one will tell you what it is and where it came from. So basically, if they grow it, it has to have one of these. If you go to the flea market and it doesn't have one of these, kind of be wary. It's very important to know where you get your citrus trees from. So it's important that you do know that. All right, we're almost done. I know I'm keeping you guys over just a little bit. So we talked about citrus diseases, especially the greening. Some other things that we'll talk about real quick, and we'll run through these quick. Scab is an issue. Citrus rust mite, melanose, greasy spot, white fly. We talked about white fly, bird damage, and then the biggie is citrus greening. Okay, scab. You guys have seen orange like that?
Wow.
All right, that's scab. All right, it's treatable. All right. Rust mite. If the weather's really dry, we have a dry summer, rust mites will get on it. And it's basically it's cosmetic. All right, you guys are not going to buy a lemon that looks, or lime or whatever, it's going to look like that. We're very picky about our fruit, unfortunately. It gives it a dull appearance. Basically, it's kind of just a dirty appearance is what I call it. Spray it early with neem oil. All right, That's why I say the early spring applications are vitally important to keep your fruit looking good. Question.
Are you saying when it's dry, is it because they're just looking for moisture?
The rust mite population explodes when it's dry. So, in a very dry season, you'll have issues like that. Fungal at the bottom. It's type of fungal. Melanose is more like little splotchy things like that. All right, it's almost gonna have a sandpaper texture, things like that. If we have a wet spring, that's when you're gonna see it. So if we have like a spring like we had this year, where it's really wet, you're gonna have issues in the fall because basically it's infected in the spring, rides along all summer, and then we get into the cooler months, it just kind of goes and explodes. Okay, a good spray program will help minimize this kind of stuff. So again, that's why I guess I'm preaching on it a little bit more than other. This sometimes will mimic a lot of our fungal issues, like our cicospore. We get cicospore quite a bit, things like that. It mimics that a little bit. But if you'll treat that early on with a neem oil or horticultural oil, that'll help minimize that. Okay.
Ounce of prevention.
Yes.
A pound of cure.
Absolutely. There's our friends, the white flies. You guys have seen those recently? They are.
Not recently.
Oh my god, yeah.
Thank God.
Like I said, phone calls here in the last 2 weeks. Hibiscus, white flies, all just roll into one. So that's what we've been doing that with. Again, it's an insect, so you're going to do it death by suffocation. So basically, spray the coat. Spray it till it drips. Top, bottom, side, left, down, upside down. You're going to spray it till it drips, and then you're going to wait about a week. Do it again. Question.
Do you spray in the evening and let it sit overnight? Spray in the morning? Is there like potential danger from the sun hitting the oil and burning the leaf? Is there an ideal time?
If you are going to spray, evening is good. You're going to have less movement. In the daytime, you're going to have more wind. Like I said, if you're using like a neem oil, it's non-toxic, so you're not really going to do a lot of effectiveness. But if you're worried about the bees and all of the good insects, spray in the evening, late evening if possible. Best time. Gosh, bird damage. Mockingbirds and the black grackles. Good luck. I don't have a nice way to say anything about it. It doesn't actually damage the fruit, but when the birds peck it, they're pulling the oil and then preening themselves with it. So basically, they're going in there after the material, the liquid, the oil in the fruit, and basically they're using it to preen themselves, clean themselves.
Treatment.
I don't know what it is. It is an issue. In our demonstration garden, I'm out in the middle of open, probably half a mile to a tree line, a good half mile. So I have mockingbirds, and we try to declare war on them, but I mean, they're very protective, and they can do some damage. So.
Super soaker.
All right. We'll talk about citrus greening real quick, and then I think that'll kind of wind it down. Citrus greening is pretty nasty disease, and that's why I said we're having all these new laws, rules, and regulations, is to protect the citrus industry. More so in the valley than here, but we get the same treatment, rules, regulations as they do in the valley. When you go down to West Laco, where it's Grand Central Station for citrus, things like that, it's night and day down there for those guys because that's their whole industry. Currently in Texas, Louisiana, and I think it's actually in Florida as well. Now, Texas now requires propagation nurseries to use certified budwood. What that means is that your budwood that you're grafting onto has been checked, cleaned, certified, and is good to go. It's from a reputable lab. You can order it online. If you're looking for clean budwood, things like that, it's important that you just don't go out and use just any old scion, things like that, okay?